Hey folks, Mike McGee here. Today I got the biggest buck I've got in a while. In this video, I'm going to show you how backstrap is done. Realtree put out a video that Duck Commander made, and they showing people how to fillet off them backstraps, and it hurts to watch. Matter of fact, they edited it all out. They show you just enough to get you hurting, and then they edited it all out. And 1.4 million people have seen the wrong way to do it. Now, I got a buddy down in Alabama, longbowbanjoAL, and he has a channel, and he's an actual butcher, and I watched him 2 days ago. He done it right, and I was pretty impressed. Let's get this deer to the house, and let's get some backstraps out. I'm gonna show you how to do it where you don't waste a bunch of meat. All right, we have aged this particular back for 19 days. It's a long time, a little longer than we normally do it, but I've never had a problem with aging over a long period of time. What you're gonna do, you got the bone coming right down the middle. So the first thing you're gonna do is take it off of the actual bone. So come down through here, like this. You're gonna want a pretty sharp knife. Then just lay it over. You wanna just lay it over and fillet it off like this. It's not hard to do. Now you see, here's your meat. It's the pure lean meat. This is your cap fat and your junk. This is what you got to get rid of. This is the part that Duck Commander and Realtree got wrong. Now, instead of taking it and whittling off little bits at a time and accidentally getting meat in there, what you're gonna do is take a flexible knife, you're gonna cut down halfway, then you're gonna just turn your knife and fillet the meat off of that sinew. Then you're gonna take the other side, flip it around and do the same thing. It's easier because you got a hold to the skin. You can hold that skin and you just push your knife right on through it like that. Then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna trim the edges up, clean it, and you're ready to go to the kitchen with this baby. So what we're gonna do, let me trim this one up. Now these two pieces right here are plenty for our family for a meal, so that's all I'm gonna cook right now. I'm gonna throw this right back on the ice. We'll see you in the kitchen. As I mentioned in a previous video, Todd from Reap What You Sow sent me a package of seasonings from somebody. Let's find out what the name of this seasoning is and what we're dealing with here. Anything I enjoy, it is seasoning. It's called Camp Dog. It's in a Cajun style, like a Tony Sachet style container. It's called Cajun seasoning. This stuff looks good. Anything that's got an alligator on the label has got my attention right off the bat. Right here, Cajun fish fry, and last but not least, we've got Camp Dog jalapeno hot sauce. I cannot wait to try that. I believe that we are going to use the Camp Dog original recipe first. We're going to use it today on this recipe and see how we like it. Okay. All right, here we are in the kitchen. This is my summer kitchen. It's not summer, but it ain't cold, so here we are. I'm opening up this Camp Dog Cajun seasoning. It looks like some good stuff. And what we're gonna do first, I've got me a good fire going. We're gonna season this, put it on a grate, stick it right over that fire and sear it real good. So here we go. This is the first time I've used the Camp Dog seasoning. Todd, I believe it's gonna be good judging by how it looks and smells. And I'm just gonna lay it on there. Then I'm gonna turn it over, put it on my grate here, and then I'm gonna hit it again. These backstraps is from a 3.5-year-old buck. And we know that because we aged him by his teeth. So, maybe not the most mature buck in the world, but he ain't no yearling either. So, the aging process and the way you cook it is how you make them good. So, I'm going to stick it in this fire right here. All right, we're going to leave it like that for however long it takes to get a good sear. We're going to flip it, let the other side grill a while, and then we're going to do something in a cast iron skillet that you won't believe. It is really hard to beat meat that's been seared over an open flame. Now, you just can't hardly beat that, and what I'm doing is sealing in those juices and giving it that smoky, just charbroiled goodness that only a fire can give. And what this is, wild cherry wood, and it puts off a good, I've been cooking with it for years, just really puts a good flavor in the meat. I'm not smoking this meat, I'm just basically cooking it over a fire. All right, it's been a few minutes. Let's check this thing out and see how it looks. It's gonna be hot, so I'm gonna just flip it with tongs, loosen it, roll it. Oh yeah, looking good. So I'm gonna flip this one this way and get the thick part back in the back where the heat is. And we're gonna go for a few more minutes. Set it right in there. It's just sitting right on the wood itself. No rack, just straight up sitting on the wood. A situation like this, you need to be here and watching this. You don't need to walk away because your whole meat can go up in flames in a heartbeat. And deer doesn't have a lot of fat, so it's not going to be as volatile. It's not going to just have any real ignition, but it will burn. So anyway, in a few minutes, we're going to pull that off and we're going to get it in the skillet. All right, while the meat is continuing to sear down there, I'm going to quickly get me a stick of butter here and throw it in this skillet and let it start melting. That's going to be our base. We're going to use butter. And in that butter, we're going to throw some garlic. We've got minced garlic here. We're just going to go ahead and throw it in that butter and let that all fall in love while this meat is getting ready to go in there. Now we're going to pull the meat out and take a look at it. Yeah, buddy. Looking good. Now in just a second, we're going to throw it in that butter. Now I want to bring out that butter and that garlic flavor, so I'm going to throw a little salt in the actual butter so that as this meat's cooking in that butter, it'll be absorbing that flavor. That's looking good. Now, you talk about coming together. That's going to come together. Now we're going to take this meat and we're just going to lay it in on this butter. We're just going to push that butter around with that meat and let that butter get all up in that meat. Now we're going to roll it. Let that butter just saturate that meat on all sides. What we're going for here is a medium well heat. We're not looking to cook this well done all the way through the middle because it's deer meat, and deer meat tends to dry out. So we're definitely going to go for a medium to medium rare. Probably going to want me to give you exact times on how long I leave it on each side, and I cannot do that. I have no idea. I just keep rolling it and turning it. That chases the moisture back and forth. So what that does, it causes you to lose less moisture from your meat by flipping it multiple times, and I don't even know the full time that it's going to be in the skillet. I'm just going to go by the feel of the meat, how the softness of the meat, and I'll cut it open and look at it, and if it's not done enough, I'll keep cooking. That's as scientific as it gets for McGee, I tell you. We're going to throw a little more camp dog on there. Camp dog doesn't have as much salt as Tony Sasseray, so you can use more of it, get more flavor, and not over salted, and that's a beautiful thing about camp dog. If you would like to try some camp dog, here's the address. I'm going to drop it right here, right now. You can see it. They also have a phone number handy, so just take it off here and give them a holler. I believe they can fix you right up. All right, it's time to cut this and see where we're at temperature-wise. This one here feels more rare than this one, so I'll do this one first. I washed my board off, don't worry. Now let's just cut into it and see what we got here. That don't look too bad. Now this is what I would call a medium, right there. The other one is thicker and a little more limber, so I think it's probably a little more rare. Let me just take a slice of this off here and see what it's like. It's hot, that's why I'm not touching it. Plenty hot, plenty tender. That's good. The kids are probably hungry. I'm gonna go ahead and slice this up, holler at the boys. We'll do your taste test right. All right, we're gonna pull the other one off here. It's the big end of the backstrap here, and it is hot. I can't touch it right now. That's beautiful right there now. That's some pretty backstrap right there. You might want to let this rest a little bit before you start cutting. That way it don't dry out as this steams off, but you don't want to wait too long because you want to serve it hot. So I'm just going ahead and cutting this up, and we're going to call the boys. All right, boys, it's time to try out this meat. I have no idea if you're going to like it. Actually, that's wrong. I do have an idea. This was cooked in butter after searing it over an open flame. All right, reach in and get you a piece, guys. What? Hey, I wanted to buy. This guy here, he's a piece of work. It's good. Backstrap from a 3.5-year-old buck, done right. You do it like this, you will love it. If you can't handle medium rare or medium meat, cook it a little longer. Just keep flipping it so that you don't lose your moisture. But it won't be this good. This is one way to do it. Now you can also slice it and bread it and fry it. You can make country fried steak with it. There's just a lot of things you can do with backstrap meat. But this is one of our favorite ways to do it right here that will make your lips come to grips. We hope you have a great day. We appreciate you watching this video, but that's all we got for you today. We'll see you on the next video.